Tired of being stuck on 76, 95, 476, 222? You get the picture. Anyway, jump on this train.
There was a guy in Willingboro, New Jersey, P. He was running a little counterfeit operation. What he would do is he would bleach $1 bills, make them look like 100, printing images of $100 bills. He would put those printed images on top of the bleach bills, and then the marker. So you go to a store, you pay with a bill, and they rub the marker over it to see if it's counterfeit or not. The marker wasn't able to detect these, so he was getting away with it for a minute there. So Hollis Forto, 38-year-old, he was the ringleader of the group. They traveled to Virginia in December of 2019 and January of 2020 to get real money using the counterfeit currency. Oh, you got change for 100? This, that, and the other. You got real money back, and they got a fake bill. Forto and his co-conspirators also used $100 bills to purchase items at retail stores, then return those items at another branch of the store in exchange for real money. Right. So court documents show that Forto traveled with a printer and a laptop to make the fake cash. So he was printing it on the go. We just going to make stacks, baby. We literally are going to make stacks around here. Forto was caught after the U.S. Secret Service found video of him on public social media account that showed him in a hotel throwing $1 bills in the air with a printer visible in the background.
Idiot.
Oh my goodness,
he definitely would have been P's weekly hero with that.
with that one.
I'm a go-getter. Dumbass material all the way.
What happens if the engine stops? We all freeze and die. But will it stop or will it stop? No, no!
It's the D train with Darren, DeVoue.
Oh, I love that one. Such a tonic.
Hello and good morning. Welcome aboard, folks. Get on. We got a long time no see. I miss y'all. How you doing? That's great. Fantastic. Anyway, welcome aboard the D Train with Darren DeVoue. Joined as always behind the glass by the prodigious, the prominent Uncle P.
Yo.
Welcome aboard, folks. Good morning. Today we got a lot to cover, okay? So we're going to get right into it. Oh, shoot. We're going to get right into it with, as soon as I can get, with the deuce.
There you go.
No. Hold on. This, son of a bitch. So anyway, so we haven't seen each other since before July 4th, right? So we always joke about it. We often joke about, there we go. Whew. So we joke about it, about, people getting injured and whatnot from fireworks. So we're going to get right into this one real quick. So it's a mad world. And we're going to start off with what happened in, Pete, what's the best way to ride a train?
Sitting down.
All right, there's one. And in order to sit down, you have to be inside the car, right? Well, or inside the train car. But this young fella in New York, he turned around. He decided that the best way to ride a subway car was on top of it. Like that damn game that you download. What's that called? Subway Surfers. I guess these people are literally trying to play this nowadays. So he unnamed 17-year-old. This is why I can't wait to talk about this book. So this unnamed 17-year-old, He was subway surfing on top of a car in Queens, New York, and he wound up striking his head on an unknown object. Striking his head on an unknown object, which I'd assume is something heavy. He's there was no update on his condition, but they're saying that he might be looking at a very, very what do you call it, P? Kind of situation where you're just eating through a straw and whatnot. You know what? And now let's get to the July 4th injury. So P, you got all. Let me see. Everybody got all 10 fingers, 10 toes that they had on July 3rd? You still got it on July 5th? All right, good. Because unlike this guy in San Antonio, Texas, he turned around. Now, fireworks safety, right? You got a whole thing with fireworks safety. People, we've seen according to the Consumer Health and Products Association, we've got a 50% increase since the beginning of the pandemic in fireworks injuries. Well, this guy in San Antonio, Texas, he turns around and, when you're firing off fireworks, you want to be safe, give it some space. Nah, my man said, I'm going to set this joint off on my head. So he put a mortar firework on top of his head and lit it, and it was supposed to, even still though, you still have that, when it comes down, it has to launch out. Well, see, the problem was he put the firework on his head and it misfired and instead exploded downward. Therefore, he didn't need his head anymore. Well, he needed his head, but he didn't have it anymore. This took place in San Antonio. Unnamed gentleman, he gone. Yeah, no more. He ain't got to worry about that no more with these. There we go. What? Piece of Wi-Fi on? Yeah, it's all good. Makes me think because we gotta and you know what? Before I've been in here on a couple of times and my Wi-Fi. I look on the Wi-Fi settings on my computer and it's turned. Wi-Fi is turned off. I'm like, what the deuce? But then next up we have, a man in Texas blew his hand off setting a firework. So Texas firework and engine folks showed up to a call for a fireworks injury, and they had to pick up my man and his hand and take them to the hospital. Yeah, there's no word on if his hand got reattached or not, but I'm not going to look on what's that? I'm not going to look on a follow-up for that because my man had an injury from a natural circumstance, natural to the behavior that he was doing. There's a website. We talked about it before, website for, Black Friday, right? Black Friday, there's all these injuries and sometimes deaths and whatnot. There's a website called Black Friday Death Count. Black Friday Death Count, therefore, keeps a running tally of all the injuries and fatalities that occur on Black Friday. I want to start a website for 4th of July and injuries and whatnot because these past few stories go along those lines. I think we can get some hits on that, P. I don't know how to do anything but use a website and whatnot. Coworker asked me the other day, how well do you know computers? I said, I can use them. I don't know nothing about setting it up or anything on them. But these two dudes in, hold on here. These two dudes in, where were they? I can't get up where they were right at this second, but they caused a home explosion from fireworks because they were manufacturing fireworks at home and they were stronger than they should have been. So these two dudes caused an explosion. They blew up the damn house. And they caused the death of 4 teenagers, 18, 17, 16, and 15. And there we go. They were manufacturing fireworks in the garage of the house in North Street in St. Louis County, and this the Friday before last. The manufacturer of homemade fireworks came with an obvious result. Cooks and Mahan, who you have pictured here, the two dudes, Cooks and Mahan, they killed 21-year-old, 18-year-old, 17-year-old, and 16-year-old, and a 12-year-old was taken to the hospital with injuries. Both suspects admitted to manufacturing fireworks that had an explosive charge and excess of the state law limit, and having the victims help them. Neither of them had, as you might expect, a license to manufacture fireworks or explosives. They're also accused of selling these fireworks. They're charged with second-degree murder, endangering the welfare of a child, unlawful possession of a weapon, and they're being held on $35,000 cash bond. What we got next? Oh,
Dude, don't try that at home.
yeah, leave it to the professionals. I used to joke all the time when I was working in a restaurant, when I was working on the line at Outback, and we'd be pumping that food out, and I'd be like, people, we are trained professionals. Please do not try this at home. That especially qualifies when you're manufacturing fireworks. There was speaking of, here's a not so, this is an unfirework related story, but in Memphis, Tennessee, this lady, I don't have a picture for her, but this lady, her name was Stephanie Nunn. Stephanie decided she was a home health aide, right? And on July 4th, she was taking care of her client, drove the client out to a park, and then went for a walk. Problem was, she left the client in the car with only the back window seat rolled halfway down. And the lady was spotted looking unresponsive by other park visitors. This was at 5:20. Nunn finally shows up at 6:40. Mind you, the authorities have already been called. They're treating her and giving her water and what have you. She shows up at 6:40, and she was like, oh, I went for a walk. Meanwhile, this poor woman is sitting in her own urine and what have you. She's charged with endangering the welfare of a vulnerable adult. But here's a fireworks story with a happy ending, P. Sea Isle City in New Jersey, they had a fireworks mishap during their fireworks show. The fireworks were on a barge. And so folks gathered on the 50th Street beach to watch the fireworks, and they were also on there were some folks watching on boats as well. Well, they knew something was wrong when the fireworks show was going off as usual, but then there was a loud explosion, and then the fireworks started going every which way, and then boats just hightailed it on out of there, and that's when people knew, oh, snap. So needless to say, the show was a little shorter than it should have been. Sea Isle City was charged $49,000 for the fireworks show, but then they're going to get a credit for next year because of the shortened show. I smoke cigarettes, and when I used to walk in this tourist trap that I used to work at in Old City. And from time to time, I'd be walking, and I cut through this playground, and I'd see this older gentleman, looked like he was in his late 60s, early 70s, and he's pushing this kid on a swing, right? And he's got this kid like this. He's got the kid kind of extending his arm. He's having a cigarette. Thing that scared me was that old fella had a oxygen tank strapped to the side of him. So I would give him a wide berth because I'd look across the street. I'd be like, I think that kid's going to wind up in somebody's front bedroom eventually, go flying through there. Well, this gentleman in this county, he blew himself up. In Pennsylvania, he blew himself up smoking with an oxygen tank. I'm sorry, P. P just gave me this look, but it's funny, P. I mean, funny in a dark sense. But, yeah. Here's one more 4th of July story. Did you hear about Joey Chestnut?
No, who's Joey Chestnut?
What? Shut the front door. The hot dog eating champion?
Why would I know him?
Well, they talk about it every 4th of July. So eventually, if you're watching the news on the 4th of July, it comes up here. You see them chomping down on the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Nom, 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 nom. So what happened this 4th of July? Joey Chestnut was going for his 15th title in 16 years. And so he was chomping down dogs, as doing what Joey Chestnut does. And a young fella came up and held up a protest sign. Apparently they were protesting Smithfield Foods. And he had on, the young fella, 21-year-old Scott Gilbertson, he was on the stage. Now, Gilbertson said his mask, because he had on Star Wars garb, so the mask prevented him from seeing how close he wound up being from Joey Chestnut. Joey Chestnut was eating these hot dogs. And mind you, this man's Super Bowl. This is what he does every year. This is Money Day. So Chestnut sees my man in his way, sees my man up there getting ready to cause a disruption. Chestnut jumps up, puts the young boy in a headlock, throws him out of the way, and then gets right back to it. Nom, 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 nom. I mean, but I get it, because, young fella, you was interfering with this man's money. Like, this is his time to shine. Chestnut said that he regretted grabbing him. Said Chestnut, as soon as I grabbed the guy, I realized he was a kid. I felt bad afterwards. I was just amped up, just focused on getting back to eating. It's a bummer. Chestnut wound up eating 63 hot dogs, which was 13 fewer than last year, probably because he had to take a little time out to destroy this guy. But still, he wound up being 15 and a half more hot dogs ahead of second place. You would think that the folks in second, you would think that those folks saw him get up to put the young boy in the headlock and be like, all right, this is my chance to catch up. Last Wednesday before last, because I've often joked about how I'm worried about, because I observe traffic laws. I drive like 10 and 2. We've made jokes about it plenty of times on this show. So last Wednesday before last, excuse me, I'm doing Uber deliveries and whatnot. I'm on Route 1, Springfield, and I'm headed north towards Philadelphia. And I notice all this police activity on the other side. And I'm looking at the car, and I'm seeing a flatbed tow truck, and it's towing a white sedan, a white Toyota. Got the white Toyota up on it, and it's moving off. And I'm looking at the Toyota, and I'm like, I'm seeing all this police activity. I'm like, this car's not even messed up. Why is this? Okay, I only see the front passenger tire, little bent in. Well, come to find out, when I got home later, this young man, or this little dingleberry by the name of Sadiq Washington, 22-year-old, apparently Sadiq and his mother were in the car and they were driving, and a 54-year-old David Hua was driving too slow for Sadiq and his mother. And so they pull up alongside of him on the shoulder at one point, right there so you're in between, so you're on Route 1, in between Springfield Road, heading south, and whatever that next light is, like 300 feet away. That's where this was all being cleaned up, on the southbound lanes. Apparently, Sadiq's mom pulled up on the shoulder of 54-year-old David Hua, a immigrant from Vietnam. Sadiq gets out the car and lets off 2 shots into the windshield, killing Hua, jumps back in the car and drives off. Or no, he didn't drive off because his mother was driving. Now, I'm sorry, but Sadiq has a very supportive mother. I wish my mother was that supportive.
Oh my God.
Because, Sadiq's mom,
My
Amanda Washington, she drove him off, and for several days, he couldn't be found until police wound up getting him. Sadiq is charged with murder, and also his mother is charged with murder. Now, see, I'm saying more supportive because of the fact, listen, if I'd have let off 2 shots of that car, if my mom would have still been there, because you'd have turned around and let off those 2 shots. Mom, even if she'd have still, let's say she'd have still been there, I'd have gotten that car, and then my mom would have been pulling off, all right, okay. Mom, where you going? You're not going home. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Mom, I couldn't help but notice that you're following all these signs for Springfield Township Police Department. Don't worry about it. I got this. We good. We got this. She'd have pulled up in that parking lot and been like, I'll be right back. That'd have been it for me. So, you got to give it to Amanda. She had her son's back. No, she was his getaway driver too, though. So they're both charged with murder, and I'm telling you, it might be the right thing. What do you think, P?
Yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles.
He's going to jail. He belongs in jail. Bet your ass he's going to jail. The only question is he going to die in jail?
Yeah, maybe not, but he'll be an old man by the time he gets out. What I need to know is, what was he holding y'all up from that was so important that he needed to take 2 shots for that?
I don't know.
Like was there 2 car lengths that was separating you from your destination that, come to find out, they were going to work? It ain't that deep. It's not that deep. Speaking of silly crimes, Pete, do you hear about this? I know you folks. It's been on the news lately. These kids that jumped that 63 or 70 something 63-year-old man, killed him.
I ain't hear about them.
You didn't hear about this?
I don't really watch the news.
Okay.
I don't watch TV.
It's, you know what, and you've got your life and whatnot, and it's probably better because a lot of times nowadays I'm just like, I spend my days like shaking my head. But you know what, these kids, and the video, I don't have the video because it's kind of horrifying, but you see it, this gentleman is walking home late at night, and these kids jump him. They thrash him with a traffic cone. They harm him, and so he wound up dying from his injuries. And it reminded me of when there was this crew I used to hang with, like, for a hot second in junior high school. And there was 2 times that we were walking down the street, and of course we discussed, I'm the least coolest of the group. And then the supposed tough guy of us, Rafiq, was like, hey, y'all, I'm gonna go over there and sock this boy. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is it? So he'd run over, and then the other 2 would run over right behind him, and they're wailing on this kid and whatnot. And then I'd be sitting there the whole time, what the fuck are these niggas doing? And so, turn around. Then they did this, the second time they did it on school property. Yo, I got pulled in the principal's office, and they were like, Darren, this boy said he got jumped, yada, yada, and you were one of the people that they said they were there. Were you there? Yes. Did you hit him? No. Who hit him? How do y'all want that tune? I gave up all that info. Man, these kids, listen, these kids now have a 20 grand reward for these kids. Listen, I wish I was one of their neighbors, because I'd have turned them in before I even found out there was a reward, let alone afterwards. You know your neighbors is going to be snitching now. In our next story, there was a young man in Memphis. He committed a burglary, another Memphis story. He committed a burglary, and so he broke into a high-end store. They stole goods, and then, not this, it's really, my girl Natasha Nettles. Oh, that's my homie. So okay. This young fella, so he posted the pictures with, oh yeah, I know, right, Gerald? My mom watching now, telling I needed a more supportive mom. Yeah, Mom, I need you to support me when I'm committing murder. There's this young fella, what happened was, broke into these stores, stole the goods, right? Well, one thing that helped police get to him was he was posting photos of himself on Facebook with the stolen items on. Police then got a warrant, went into his house, and found plenty of the stolen goods there with the tags still on them. And so he's looking at charges for burglary, et cetera, et cetera. Speaking of dummies committing crimes and posting on social media, there's a rapper, Nuke Bizzle. And Nuke Bizzle, oh, wait. Oh, I got to go back. You're right, P. Hold on. Let's go back to Natasha. Because 42 moms didn't know. You're not going to support. See, that's what I'm talking about with you, Millie. But 42-year-old Natasha Nettles, right? Natasha Nettles, she was smoking a cigarette in the Kensington area of Philadelphia, right? She's one classy lady. Natasha has a license to carry firearms. Well, Natasha had to relinquish that license to carry firearms because on June 6th, and that's why I had to save this story from the clutter car, Natasha was arrested for attempted murder. There's video of it. If you check on the websites in Kensington, she's at the Allegheny station. She's smoking a cigarette. She's arguing with a fella. She walks up on him, lets off one in his leg, and just as coolly struts away while she's puffing on her cigarette. She's charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault, and simple assault. How can you get... Never mind. I should have looked that up, but I don't know the difference between simple assault and aggravated assault. It's all, like, any kind of assault is wrong. But, all right, I know, and P gets offended when I ask him questions about... Even though I'm not saying like, hey, you.
Simple assault is a fight, right?
Aggravated
assault is a fight with a deadly weapon or a bat or something like that. Aggravated.
Well, doesn't it seem a little redundant that she's hit with both charges, or they?
No, because it can get dropped to simple assault.
Oh, so they charge both because one could get
throw
knocked.
shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Okay, there we go.
She could probably plead guilty to the simple assault.
Okay.
But if she don't and they take it to trial, then
there we still got this up charge, like being at the bar. And do you want the house liquor, or would you like the would you just like call liquor, or would you like some Tanqueray in that drink? Nuke Bizzle. Pete, I don't know who Nuke Bizzle is. I don't know these young boy rappers. I do give them credit for not being young something or little somebody, but Nuke Bizzle. We were talking about the young fella in Memphis who was posting on Facebook about his crimes. Well, Nuke Bizzle, in the summer of 2020, he pretty much confessed to illegally obtaining unemployment through the COVID relief funds because he had the CARES Act. So Nuke Bizzle would be in videos posting about how he's got a stack of those prepaid cards and whatnot. He apparently applied for $1.2 million in unemployment benefits. He also used the name of third parties, including identity theft victims. More on identity theft in a moment. And he used that to obtain more than 90 preloaded debit cards. Those cards were reportedly sent to Beverly Hills and Koreatown in LA. Addresses associated with him. Oh, by the way, his real name is where'd he go? His real name is something Baines. Something Baines. Doesn't say. Wait, let's see it. Anyway, so he was holding up a stack of envelopes while rapping about going to the bank with a stack of these. We need better criminals. I would say better criminals. Actually, he's originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and he pleaded not guilty to 3 felony charges: access device fraud, aggravated identity theft, and interstate transportation of stolen property. Prosecutors say he confessed to filing at least 92 bogus claims, with EDD, giving him and his associates access to $704,000 through cash withdrawal. He allegedly admitted to being a felon in possession of a semi-automatic pistol with 14 rounds of ammunition. Under the agreement, Baines will plead guilty to 1 count of mail fraud and 1 count of unlawful possession of a firearm. And he's agreed to give up $56,000 of cash that was seized by law enforcement. He faces up to 20 years in prison in the fraud charges and 10 years for the weapons charges. Basically telling on himself. Damn. I bet if he's in a relationship, he's like, girl, you don't want to see my DMs. Don't look at my DMs, girl. Look at what I'm up to. I'm not a father, all right, in our next story. This next story, P, you're a father, right?
I think so. I mean, no, I think so.
All right, we were talking about supportive parents, right? So police showed up, and this was in Vermont, small town in Vermont, and so police showed up to arrest this gentleman's son. Well, the father decided, and this was, again, from our clutter card. This happened on June 14th, but police showed up to arrest Brandon Talman. And so Brandon was wanted on assault and burglary charges. While responding to the house, which was in Hardwick, Vermont, Dad decided to get supportive by blocking the police from arresting his son by using, as you can see in the picture, this excavator. And you got to see the video too, because Dad starts swinging that excavator shovel at the police. Like they're literally having to duck from this heavy machinery that this man is swinging at the police. After finding themselves in this dangerous situation, they wound up arresting both mother and father. Father and son. But they also got the mother. Mother and father are arrested for interfering with the arrest and refusing to let go of the son, scuffling with officers. The troopers were able to arrest all three without injuries. State police identified the mother as Amy Tallman and the father as Wayne Tallman. Both are 52. Wayne's charged with reckless endangerment and assault on a protected official, while Amy faces charges for impeding an officer. So there's that. P, you going to swing some heavy machinery at your at cops, or are you going to turn this boy in?
No, we out. We running. We out.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, he already know. You feel me?
Right. Listen, get in that car, son.
Yeah. Let's go. We out. We out. We got to get to Mexico, and then from Mexico we'll hop on a boat to Cuba or something like that. We out. Then you gotta go to Mexico. Go to Florida. You feel me?
Right.
Yeah. Make it way.
So I've never been married, right? I don't believe in divorce, which is why I've never been married. So this is again from our clutter card, right? How competitive? But I have been I've been in plenty of failed relationships. You know what I mean? Like you play games in a relationship, like, you know, sitting down playing, you know, you're spending quality time with one another. You play board games and what have you, etc. All right, so we're on at a wedding, right? A groom, and this was in Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan, as Harold Kane might say. So this new wife, right after they say I do, pretty much, they're playing a game on stage at the wedding reception. The newlywed bride starts beating the husband at the game. So what the new bridegroom do? He jawed his wife. He jawed her in front of everybody.
Oh, he didn't.
Yes, he did. There's a picture right there. He giving it to her.
Oh, come on.
Right there. Oh, he hit her hard. He struck her hard on the back of the head with his fist.
Everybody else is laughing.
Right, but I don't think they had a chance. Like at first, I think he did it so fast they didn't have the chance to. And the photographer just got it so quickly. Their smile was still in their face, like, because you know you see some crazy stuff happen in front of you. You're like, did I just see that? Like, that's probably because my man struck old girl. Oh man, he clocked her hard too, and then went right back to standing like and straightened his jacket.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't know, you better ask somebody.
right?
This what this relationship gonna be full of.
Oh man, that's on the bridesmaids though, man. I'm sorry, but as bridesmaids, that's when you got to say, all right, girls, form Voltron. We're gonna kick this dude's ass right now for that stuff. And not to mention, I don't know, man. I got one word. Not that I. Again, I'm coming from a place of not being in a marriage, but I got one word of advice for that bride, which is one word: annulment. Go seek that joint out, girl. Oh man. Speaking of spectacles, that takes us to what I've been watching. All right, so there's this show, Legendary. You heard of it, P? No? All right. Anybody, if you're out there, Jabri, Gerald, you heard of Legendary? All right, so what happens is, it's this, you heard of ballroom, like that stuff that Madonna would talk about? Come on, girls, let's get to it. Let's Vogue. This ballroom thing that I didn't know about. So one day I'm at my brother's house, and my soon-to-be sister-in-law, I walk into the living room, and her and her daughter are watching this show. And as soon as I walk in, just the spectacle of it, like it just like, I froze because I was just like, it was all this flashing lights, the music and the crowd and the this, that, and the other. But Legendary, what happens is Legendary is there's five, they start off with 5 dance teams. And like any reality show competition, they start to eliminate teams and they're not teams. They're called houses. So you have like House of Gucci, House of whatever, and each house has a mother. Oh, by the way, if you got any if you got any transphobia, homophobia, whatnot, this ain't the show for you because it's thick in there. All right, but and it's funny because the show is judged. Megan Thee Stallion is one of the judges on the show. Also, a young fella by the name of Law Roach. That's his name. So, or you could say Law Cockroach. Oh, see what I did there, P?
No, I don't want.
You don't want no parts.
I don't want no parts of that.
But you know what though? I'll give it 3 out of 4 train tickets. Cause you know what, P? I've only seen stuff like this depicted in like shows that are set in the 70s or set in the early 80s. But I want to go to one of these now, because I'm probably going to spend like 2 hours just walking around, listen. All this, whoa, what's going on? One of the show during the competition, each show, like each ball or contest has a theme. But what's consistent in the theme is this move that the dancers do. They do this kind of fall where they kind of fall back and their leg is bent. One leg is bent back and one leg is extended. They look like they're doing the hurdles, but they'll just drop into it sometimes. And I'm like sitting there watching it. Ooh, that knee is going to be hurting. But yo, when they do this fall, that's like yelling Second Amendment like being at a Trump rally and going, Second Amendment! And the crowd just goes, ah! They don't even know what the hell for. Because each time that they did this fall, the crowd just goes wild. So, but like I said, 3 out of 4 train tickets for Legendary. After that, I watched this movie, a 2021 movie called We've All Been Karen'd, per se. P, when's the last time you got Karen'd?
I've never been Karen.
You never been Karen'd? Oh man. God bless you. It's a daily occurrence for me. You got to learn. After a while, learn how to keep.
Karen is.
Huh?
Explain what Karen is.
What? Shut the front door.
No.
You don't know what a Karen is?
Mm-mm.
All right.
I've probably been Khadijah. But I ain't never had no white lady call the cops on me.
Okay.
Like
oh shit! I forgot to load the video onto the. Yeah. Well, this. All right. And Karen is a 2021 movie written by Coke Daniels. Now, P, what happens is, all right. So in this, they touch on the basic aspects of a Karen. So, all right, P, we'll go through it real quick. Say you and your boy, say you and I are at a restaurant eating, right? We're laughing, we're joking. We might be, because for some of them, we're just a little too loud, as they say. But then, so you see the one lady white lady. She'll get up, go to the manager, complain. The manager comes over to you. Pete, think of it as those ladies that called the woman that called the cops on the guy in Central Park with the dog. She had the dog, and she called the cops and was like, "There's a black man threatening me," and whatnot. All right, or you're having a barbecue. The white lady is sitting there when those folks were having a barbecue, or the kids were having a lemonade stand. The white lady that calls the cops on them. That's a Karen. You got it now?
Yeah, I got
All right, so Karen, the movie, stars Corey Hardwick, Jasmine Burke, and if you ever seen Orange is the New Black, Taryn Manning. No. What about Hustle and Flow? Okay. All right, the very nice white prostitute. That's her. She stars as Karen, and which incidentally her name is Karen. So this black couple moves into a white neighborhood in LA, and but in the movie, they make several missteps when they're dealing with the Karen. All right, first off, there's this one, and I forgot to load the daggone video because I had it for a week, so I just loaded. Anyway, so there's one scene in the movie where my man is sitting in his parking lot, right? He's just sitting there in his parking lot, and he's toking on a little weed. She shows up and knocks on the window. He lowers the window. All right, so that's the first misstep that I'm seeing from this couple in the movie. He lowers the window and she starts asking him all kinds of questions. Like, bitch, is this a press conference? All right, this is my driveway. What are you doing here? Girl, bye. Instead, he entertains her and starts answering her questions. And one of her questions is, how did you guys wind up in this neighborhood? I mean, all the places y'all could have moved to, what made you choose here? Now, see, in the movie, which, I don't know, the movie, we'll get to that in a second, but he said, he starts entertaining her and said, like, I've been in plenty of, Pete just said he's never been Karen. I've been Karen plenty of times. And in that instance, that's when I would have been like, when she'd asked that, I'd be like, yeah, Darren, this is the time to have a little fun. I'd have looked right at her and started saying all the stuff that gratifies her pre-held racist notions. Well, girl, me and my wife was living in this 28-story tenement, and we were surrounded by Puerto Ricans and Africans, and even worse, African Americans. Oh my goodness, it was so scary. So then we decided to move out here. No, he kept entertaining her. Then they made another misstep where they invited her over for a party that they were having with some friends, and she starts offending the friends and whatnot. And you know the attorney Ben Crump, the civil rights attorney Ben Crump that shows up and whatnot when he's making that deal right now, but he makes an appearance in the movie as himself because the couple towards the end the couple sue, but. Given what Karen, like I said, it was an express route movie kind of, and it just touched on all the points, but it didn't have any real substance per se. So as a black male watching it, I'll give it 3 out of 4 train tickets. But like I said, it doesn't really try. In fact, Karen got, the Raspberry Awards, where it's like the Academy Awards for bad movies. So Karen won Best Picture at the Razzies, Best Picture, Worst Picture, I'm sorry. Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Actress, and Worst Screenplay. So they did a sweep at the Razzies. It said Worst Remake. They said it's an inadvertent remake of Cruella. So again, 3 out of 4 train tickets for Karen. Now, listen, that moves us on to what I've been reading. All right, and I've been reading this book. I read this book, Kingpin. And it's the story of how one hacker took over the billion-dollar underground the underground hackers network. There we go. Excuse me, Kingpin, how one hacker took over the billion-dollar cybercrime underground. It was written in 2021 it's published in 2011, written by Kevin Poulsen. Listen, folks, This is, without a doubt, the scariest book that I've read since Stephen King's It. It's the real-life story of Max Butler. Max stole access to 1.8 million credit card accounts. He had an interest in computers from a young age. He learned to write code at age 8. And his freshman year at Boise State in 1991, Max was accused of assault with a deadly weapon, and which was likely a case of overcharging by the prosecutor. Like Pete mentioned earlier, you know, some prosecutors throw stuff against the wall, see what sticks. Well, apparently this stuck. So Max came out. By the time Max got out of jail, he served a 60-day sentence. He came out of jail embittered. Then by the time he got out of jail, the internet was changing. Because he was one of those kids, like, you know, you ever seen War Games? When my man, you know, there was like 8 people on the internet and they had that dial-up modem. So now Max get out of jail and there's Wi-Fi and all kinds of stuff. So he was working for CompuServe, and which is an internet service provider, and they traced uploads to an unprotected server. And the uploads were consuming excessive bandwidth. So that led them to Max. Butler got fired. He moved to California, and now the internet is really taking off. He moved to California during the internet startup boom. Some of his old friends from Boise State, they were living in a mansion in Silicon Valley. That's when Max came up with the idea to change his last name. So he became Max Vision, or Max Ray Vision, changed his last name and started working as a freelance pen tester and security consultant. But then Max got busted for another cybercrime, went to jail, and that's where he met a fella. And that's what I always say about jail, man. Like we talked about that burglar that stole the stuff and wound up posting it on Facebook and whatnot. They shouldn't have taken him to jail. They should have just took his ass to Wendy's and be like, listen, I need a name tag for this guy. We're going to give him a job because this dummy, Max needed a job because crime school is a prison. All right, that's where they go to become better criminals. Max met up with this fella, Chris. He and Chris decided to start doing a little something once they both got released from jail. But then so Chris was what they call a carder. So you got your credit card or whatnot. You know those skimmers that you got to be careful with inserting your credit card or, you know, chip into the joint because the skimmers read that pinstripe or that mag stripe, excuse me. And so it's gotten a lot more secure because of cats like Max. But Max they would get their hands. So Chris was a carder. So he would have people, you know, get these cards. Once he got these numbers, Max would get the numbers. And then Chris would hire people to go out and make purchases with these card numbers. And therefore, they bring the goods back, sell them, and that's how they made their money. Then that's when Chris said to Max, you know what? And that's what's called a dump. So if we get a big bunch of these credit card numbers, that's what they call it, a dump of credit card. Chris said to Max, you know, I think the money is not in the cards themselves, but we just need to start getting the dumps. And then Max said, you know what? That's brilliant. So Max decided to start hacking the hackers, in effect making himself the Omar Little of hackers. So, you know, he's robbing the hacker. And who are they going to tell? You going to take it to the cops? You know what I mean? Like a drug dealer can't report to the police that he got robbed. So that's in essence what they did. And that's when the money really took off. So, of course, the feds eventually caught Max because there was one Fed that was hot on his trail for a while. But Max got caught. He did 10 years, and he's out on the streets now. Actually, there's one part in the book where it says, you've been there, folks? You ever been there and you're like, I don't know if it happened to you, but like for me, it happened like about 10 years ago. So I'm sitting there and your computer is sitting there and you're watching TV, your computer, the screen is on screensaver mode. But then you ever notice this happened to you, P? The screen, all of a sudden the screen comes on. You see your mouse move for a second. You're like, what the hell? In the book, the narrator saying that's what Max would do to keep once he got into your computer, he can watch everything. He's all over you. And then he's in your life. And you know, we do so much on our computers, so much on our phones and whatnot. Like once he's in there, he's in your life. He's got all your stuff. It's so funny. And so the dude said, if that ever happened to you, it might have been Max. In fact, after reading this book, I was sitting there the one day and I had my car remote on me. I turn around, my windows, two front windows go down. And in my head, I go, oh my God, Max has hacked me. He's in my car. No, Darren, you're just leaning on the remote the unlock button long enough for you to just lower the windows. But like I said, it's the scariest book I've read since Stephen King's It. So 3.5 train tickets, for Max, or for Kingpin, how one hacker took over the $1 billion cybercrime underground. And it gets 3.5 train tickets because they had to lose half a train ticket for scaring me this damn much. By the way, folks, no more. If you don't do it now, that little the chip, the tap, do that because that's much more encrypted and it's harder for them to read because once they get that strip, they can get so much more information off that strip than they can get off of the chip. So no more slot, no more insert. All right, that's a PSA from the D Train with Darren DeVoue to all y'all on cmpradio.net. Why? Because cmpradio.net. What's it again, P? I was hoping you would say it so we could do it in unison. I'll do it. I got you. I'm a team player. cmpradio.net. It's the station. All right, so that does it for our first block of the D Train with Darren DeVoue on cmpradio.net. On our next block, we got, oh man, P, I didn't know that Philly is a vacation destination for war criminals. Yeah, coming up on our next block. You're on the D Train with Darren DeVoue on cmpradio.net.
Passengers, this is not a shoe. This is disorder. This is size 10 chaos.
700 level attitude, heart of the Italian stallion.
But speaking of getting some booty, P, did you hear about Oklahoma's newest?
Getting some what?
Getting some booty. You said that Samuels was having sex when he passed away, or reportedly, rumoredly, whatever, having sex.
I don't like this cowboy.
So Oklahoma, that's a junior college transfer. He led the NG National Junior College Association in passing yards with 3,400 and over 3,400 and touchdown passes with 27. Oh, his name, by the way, is that General Booty. Yes, you remember. His first name General, last name Booty. Booty. Yes. P is picking up the phone right now.
I'm not picking up the phone. I'm not doing it.
I thought you were.
No, I'm good. This is their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
I can just imagine if he makes it to the NFL. General Booty.
He'd never made it through middle school with the crew that we were. In fact, wait, what's this? We done heard that the first day of school. Wait, what? Which one? Who's that?
General Booty.
Oh, I can't wait till recess. We're gonna roast you.
We must all of us on this train of life remain in our allotted station.
It's time for the D Train with Darren DeVoue.
The divine keeper of the sacred engine.
We're back on the second block of the D Train with Darren DeVoue on cmpradio.net. Don't forget, for all of your home renovation, updates, construction needs, contact LeBron Construction. I'm telling you, I stand by this man. LeBron gives great deck. Fixed up our steps. I don't have a deck, but he hooked up our back steps, stained them stairs. It's beautiful work. He's not just a construction artist, he's a craftsman. All right, so if you want to check out LeBron Construction, go to LeBronConstruction.com or go to our website and check out our LeBron Construction, as well as the rest of our sponsors. We talked about, all right, so you heard of war criminals from World War II escaping to South America. All right, so in my head, I've always thought to myself, if you're a war criminal, you're going to go to someplace beautiful and sunny and what have you. So, but come to find out, this gentleman, Lay Sekou Camara, 43 years old. He.
That nigga ain't 43.
That's what I know, right? Maybe he's 63. And yeah, he can't be 43 because the Liberian Civil War, well, the second Liberian Civil War was, that ended in 2003. Damn, if he is 43,
He must have been a long-time soldier.
That's a hard 43. And actually, that's part of what he's accused of, child soldier recruitment and what have you. So he was arrested in Southwest Philly, which otherwise known as Africa's 55th country. And sorry. So what happened was in 2011, Camara entered the U.S. on a visa. He later obtained a green card, but what happened was, and then he used that green card he used that false information on a 2017 application for a Pennsylvania ID app, or for a Pennsylvania application for a Pennsylvania ID. Camara was he was a general in a rebel faction, and he was known as the Death Dragon. He was known as that because, and by he was a general for the United for Reconciliation and Democracy rebel faction. United in Reconciliation and Democracy, but he's also accused of committing war crimes and what have you. Doesn't sound like he was doing a lot of reconciliation. Well, he was reconciling something already. The second Liberian Civil War ended in 2003, and that was begun to oust then dictator Charles Taylor. He's already in hiding Camara was already in hiding before he came to Philadelphia. He was in hiding because he killed another general in this army. What kind of world are we living in where war criminals can't trust war criminals? The Liberian Civil Wars, both the first one and the second one, because Taylor came into power in the second one. I forget the name of this book I read, but in it, they were talking about a lot of America's involvement in both wars because she began to talk about how the author began to talk about how the CIA will refer to Charles Taylor as our man, quote, our man in Liberia, end quote. Because you know how America does. They back certain dictators until they can't use them no more. But apparently Camara lied on his application, but what he lied about in his application was when they ask you, were you part of a paramilitary group or a group that took part in political violence? He said no. They also use child soldiers, as we said a moment ago, and the party has been tracking. There's been parties tracking Liberian criminals that are located in the U.S. And according to the article, he might not be the only one hiding in Philadelphia. And you know what though? If you're African and you're looking to hide, you go to Southwest Philly because you can just blend in real easy right there. Not trying, at the risk of sounding racist. We've all rented cars, right? You ever rent a car and get pulled over by the police and told that this car is stolen? You stole this car and get arrested? Well, that's what happened to dozens of customers a few years ago when they were renting cars from Hertz. And this lawsuit just got I said dozens? I'm sorry. Excuse me. I meant over 200 customers were suing the rental car giant for mental and emotional damages after they say they were falsely accused and even jailed after Hertz filed police reports saying the cars they rented were stolen. A judge ruled early last month that at least 89 of those cases could be pursued in state and county courts. The customers also said that cars were legitimately rented and have had charges removed, but not before spending time in jail, and in some cases. I mean, that is, Because, I mean, it hurts. Listen, it's bad enough. Are you trying to get me killed? Like, you got me pulled over with a, you know how that goes. You know how traffic stops go. I'm willing to bet that some of these folks were black. The settlement push comes after Colleen Batchelor took over as general counsel for the embattled company. Batchelor said it was her top priority to end the lawsuits. And so it doesn't say, let's see, it doesn't give me an amount for, undisclosed NDAs, whatever. But I'm assuming it's in the millions. Man, I know you say you haven't been watching the news. You don't watch the news. I know you've had to heard about this. My girl, Brittany Griner.
Oh, yeah, I'm on that.
All right, there we go.
And that ain't necessarily from news. That's just,
from people chatting.
Just unfair treatment of African American people.
And man, so if you're under a rock and haven't heard by now, Big Sexy, as I like to call her, Brittany Griner's been in jail. She's in detention in Russia, and she just pleaded guilty 3 days, according to a report 3 days ago, for transporting hashish oil into the country.
It was in a vape pen.
In a vape pen. And like,
how much oil was she bringing? It's personal use.
Just enough for, because I mean, come on, let's face it, P. If you and I go to Russia, we're going to double the black population of Russia right now. Right,
but she played basketball for them.
Right. They don't care. And not to mention what's going on in Ukraine. She's a political pawn.
Yeah, that's all.
And so they're holding her in exchange. They're holding her, and they're pretty much, you're hearing about it. I read on Real Sports on HBO. They did a piece on this, and they're trying to trade. Russia wants to trade Griner for this guy who is a known killer. He's killed hundreds of people. I'm sorry, but listen, Brittany. If that's what they're asking for you, girl, the rent is too damn high on that one. You're gonna have to take one for the team for right now, because her trial, they're not expected to end her trial. The trial was inadvertently, she asked for mercy, and because let her out, because she's already she's been there 3 months, and who knows, she could be sentenced up to 10 years. But she's pled guilty, so who knows what. But she wrote an open letter to Biden asking she said at her trial, she said, I'd like to plead guilty, Your Honor, but there was no intent. I didn't want to break the law. Like you said, Piggy, it was just personal use. She probably didn't think nothing of it. Right. But I don't know, man. You got to be careful when you travel, especially especially when you got this. When you're traveling in some of these other countries.
When you're going to a different country.
Yeah.
There are different things that are okay in different countries. America, you feel me? I guess it's cool for you to travel with your vape pen. It's cool for all that. But when you go into a different country, you got to abide by their rules.
Yeah.
And if you're not abiding by their rules, if they're at war and they're having sanctions thrown down on them, you will become the victim.
Yes.
You will sit. Which is sad that she's sitting this long, because it's nothing but $100 fine. Throw it in the trash. There was nobody to give the thing to. There was no victim. It's a victimless crime. There is no victim. It could just be thrown in the trash at the airport and go about her business. But at this point, Brittany Griner is an American. Brittany Griner is in Russia. And Brittany Griner will continue to sit there as long as they wanted to sit there,
right?
Or whatever they wanted to sit there for,
right? And they're gonna she could face the 10 years if convicted for, like you said, personal use. They're going to convict her for large scale transportation of drugs. That's when you're just, come on, dude, come on, stop it. But these dictators, boy. Elizabeth Rue, deputy chief of mission at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, told reporters after the hearing that she spoke to Griner in the courtroom and shared that open letter to Joe Biden. Griner said, 31-year-old Griner said in the letter, I would like to emphasize, Rue Rude said of the situation, she said, I would like to emphasize the commitment of the U.S. government at the very highest level to bring home safely Miss Griner and all U.S. citizens wrongfully detained, as well as the commitment of the U.S. Embassy in Moscow to care for and protect the interests of U.S. citizens detained or imprisoned in Moscow. So, damn. Speaking of folks in jail, yeah. R. Kelly. Yeah, this from the Carter car. Yeah.
Somebody braid my hair.
Yeah, won't you braid my hair? Robert. I'm still picturing Gayle King. Robert, I need you to calm down, Robert. No, that was a bad interview. That was a bad idea. I'm sure his lawyer did not want him to do that interview, and it wound up even worse. Yeah, man. How much they hit him with 30 years.
30 years.
Dang.
Hey, man.
And so his tour manager and other procurers, like most folks started turning on him anyway.
Immediately.
Oh yeah. Started whistling like me, like me in the principal's office.
That's what he do.
Oh,
but
so
we already knew it. We already knew he had a problem.
Right.
Nobody spoke up on it. Nobody tried to get him help. Nobody tried to pull him on his coattail. And that's what happens when you are a millionaire, or you have money that can quiet other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nobody's
buddy.
Nobody's gonna tell you you're wrong, right? But they say Elvis Presley did the same thing, right?
I definitely believe it, and he's from the South. You know.
I mean, his wife was younger than him when he married her. You feel me? They got that movie coming out, or it's already out, that Elvis Presley
right.
movie. So I don't know, man. We can't do what other people can do.
Yeah,
we don't have the other liberties of other people.
Even you rich and famous ones. Nope.
They might have gave us freedom, but they damn sure didn't give us liberty.
Right.
So, we can't be out here doing all that stuff. And then the lady that was down with was the white boy that killed himself, Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh yeah.
She got 20 years, and she was trafficking major in and out. But it's like, who you know? You know what I mean? Like who does R know?
Right.
Like who was he sharing? You can't do it by yourself, bro.
Right. And
bring in all the friends.
And that's what old girl said in the cause that was must see TV for me. But like they had me in front of. I waited until all 6 episodes of Surviving R. Kelly came out. Then I binged that whole thing. And old girl says it. His former wife says it. Like somebody was helping him because he don't read too well, and et cetera. So somebody had to be making these arrangements for flights, et cetera, and get these girls in prison. And not to mention the security guard. I couldn't picture being one of those security guards and helping to keep a chick in the bedroom or, following her to the bathroom and whatnot. Anyway, speaking of egotistical megalomaniacs. You hear about Creflo Dollar? Pastor Creflo?
I haven't seen Creflo in a long time.
Oh, he keeping a low profile ever since that whole thing about him with hey, people, I need y'all to throw a little more in that collection plate, please. I need a new jet. So now Creflo is walking back. He's walking that back now, and he's saying that he had a wrong view on tithing.
I bet he did.
He says that isn't. He was misinterpreting the teachings of the Old Testament. Huh? So his new framing, the Old Testament mandate, because he's saying that the Old Testament mandated a 10% fee. Give 10% of your income to the church.
To the church, not to you.
Right. Give your 10% of your income to God. And by God, I mean me. All right, so he said that's the whole point. So Creflo's walking his back. He's pivoting from that 2015 incident.
Because God ain't never asked me for no money.
Right, and I'd be like, yo, 10% God? No, we gonna negotiate this number, dude.
I mean, if man invented the theory of money is invented by man, what does God know about that?
Right. What does guy care about money?
What does he work money for? I need 10%.
Right, exactly.
No, brother.
And I didn't even know about that whole 10%. One Easter Sunday, I'm at my relatives in Harrisburg. Right. Speaking of cash snatching pastors, because when I first went to their church, right, it was in this small little thing,
Right.
and it insulted me because they were handing out envelopes on Easter Sunday, and then it had a breakdown on it. Like, if I make this much, I should give this much. I'm like, who the fuck is y'all to be up in my head?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. I will put 1 penny with a note with my name on it. Call me in this damn collection plate. Oh, so anyway, that church has expanded since then. Yeah. And last time I went I had it because anytime I stay at this relatives, my aunt, my uncles, if I'm there on a Sunday,
you're going to church.
So the last time I went, they went to. It's a much larger place. We went to the pastor's house. Pastor got a nice little back pool, in-ground pool now, not even above ground. Okay, the bookstore at the church and all that. Let me tell you, even when the first time I shook that man's hand, I don't know what it was, but I was just like, "Oh, how you doing? Nice to meet you." Yeah. No, definitely no fuck.
I mean,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, P.
The word is contagious. You know, people get lost in words.
Right.
You know, and if you're not careful, you know, you can have someone fleecing you out of your money for your mortgage, your money for your bills. So, you know, I believe that you should give to people that are less fortunate than you. You don't
right.
You don't necessarily have to help anyone build up a building. You feel me?
Right.
Because if you have this great big building, how are you helping people that are less fortunate than you?
And I don't remember Jesus saying, "Yo, make sure my shit is tight, all right?" I want come on now. Oh my goodness!
I want the finest robe,
right?
Laced in gold.
Oh, so by the way, back. Speaking of Creflo Dollar now part of his whole walking it back. Listen, if you bought any of his DVDs, his tapes, his books, you can get a full refund. So there's that. He said,
Creflo Dollar.
He said his teachings were flawed. The Philadelphia. Oh wait, is this next?
We back up. We on these judges.
Oh yeah, man. Yo. Let me tell you. Oh. The freaking Supreme Court, man. Do you hear? Oh, no. I got a quick video with a white lady on it, Pete. But real quick, the Supreme Court. If you haven't heard, the Supreme Court has walked back. They're walking back Roe versus Wade, right? Now this is what cracks me up about the conservative movement, because I'm telling you, abortion is a manufactured issue. It's not mentioned in the Bible. It's not mentioned in Hashem, Allah, God. None of them said anything about abortion, all right? Abortion is a manufactured issue from the late 60s, early 70s, when the Republicans were like, all right, how can we make sure to keep getting our people to the polls? How can we hit them in the heartstrings, something that gets them going, all right? So now it is abortion. And so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's not just about getting the people to the polls. It's about the number of them.
Ah, yeah. I've heard that because you know that whole great replacement theory is running.
It's real, right? You know, they're looking at their numbers and they're saying, shit, by 2046, we're going to be in a minority. You know, like we're not going to, this is not going to be our country. So we have to do something, right? We have to make more. And it's not like they're going to allow their people to just go out and make babies. You feel me? Most married white people, they only want 2 kids.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
And most of the abortions that take place, 60% of abortions are had by
white people. Right. So they like, shit, we got to end this now.
Right.
You feel me? Like, because shit, the way it's going, these black and brown people, they going to outnumber us in this joint. You feel me? And we're already doing everything we possibly can to keep their numbers low. We're shooting them. We're killing
Right,
them.
right.
You feel me? Like,
And they still keep.
we're giving them bad water. We're giving them bad air. You feel me? Everything that we're doing, it isn't working. You feel me? We're giving them less opportunities, less money.
And they
feel me?
still keep coming.
They still keep
Like,
making
they're
children.
They're like the Rocky of people. We keep punching them in the jaw, and they just keep coming forward.
No matter how many abortions they get, they'll never get more abortions than we're getting.
Right.
You feel me? And it's like, all right, what do we do to? All right, well, we'll just take Roe versus Wade off.
And that's what kills me now. And I've always, because my thing is, over the years, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm hearing the anti-abortion activists. I'm like, you know what? Even long before this, I was like, give it to them. Give it to them. Give them no abortions. Because now what? Now how you going to get your people to the polls? Now, what now? What now? What's the new boogeyman? What is it? But see, this is just reflective of the type of bull sugar honey iced tea that, I mean, unfortunately, the conservative movement does. Because, I mean, okay, every life is precious, but Pete just touched on it. Okay, now once that life is here, let's get that life some poison water. Let's make sure this land is polluted. Oh, and by the way, let's put his ass in a ever more underfunded public school, all right? There we go.
Well, that continues to matriculate for them in profits and prison and
Yeah, buddy.
and the justice system and so it that continues to work for them. It's not like, you know, they're doing all these things and they don't benefit off of all of these things, right? We're just the people that are living through it and dealing with it, right? You know, if you got children, if you have 3 or 4 children and you're growing up in an area where the school district is crappy, 9 times out of 10, at least one of your children is going to end up in prison.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And you get 2. Now you got 2 of your kids in prison. You feel me? And it's like, you know, these are the systems that they have been putting in place to affect us moving forward.
Oh,
You feel me? And we don't see it because we're living in the greatest country in America. They got all the bells, the whistles, the shiny lights, and everything like that on top of it, and you don't notice that, you know, you might walk in the door. Damn sure ain't walking the fuck out. You feel me? And then when people wake up and people get to pulling on the door to go out, it's like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to get to this door.
You're in the wrong door.
You feel me? It's
Right.
like, all right, he understands he has to get out. All right, we'll let him out, but we're not going to let nobody else out.
Right.
And then we'll give him everything that he needs, you feel me, when he gets out and say, listen, you go back in there. Like, you on your own. Your people don't really fool with you like that. You feel me? Like, look, you came out. Like, you made it out. Like, you going to go back in there and save them? Or you want to sit here and enjoy your life?
Oh, man.
And when you do that, when you weigh that up against someone enjoying their life or going back in there, it's always going to be like, I got to keep moving. You feel me? So it's sad the way this country is formed.
Oh, you know what?
Not saying that it can't change, but it'll take all of us working together, all of us helping each other. That's the only way anything's going to change.
So real quick, I have an older coworker at my new job, right? Older coworker, he's older white male, and so like I was sitting there doing the dishes for the kids and doing the kids' dishes and whatnot, getting ready for the end. My man was like, he was talking about God and America, like, you know, I'm not listening, but then I hear him say, people always say, why America is the most prosperous country, and I say because God. You know, it's obvious. God wanted it that way. Hold on, let me stop doing it. Can you say that again, sir? He said, well, God wanted it that way. And I said, oh, it had nothing to do with the technological advantage over the Native Americans with the guns and explosives versus bow and arrow, and not to mention slavery. You import a whole bunch of free labor to get started with. That doesn't. He goes, oh, yeah. But I'm looking at him like, damn, this mofo really believes that. Like, that is legit right here in him. Like,
because they weren't affected by any of those things. They're just here to lay in the beauty of it all. You know what I mean? Like, when I went to Chicago, man, I was like, man, this is a beautiful. I never really looked at the skyline of a city. And last night I was in Philly.
And all the elites are drinking baby blood and whatnot, running a pedophile ring and whatnot. This guy started it, right? Well, QAnon has returned recently. He's been We good? Okay. He's been laying low. He posted recently his first post in 18 months. And again, he was backed up by he was famous for beginning Pizzagate. And after that, they predicted that what right-wingers call the storm. And that was when all these elites and whatnot were going to get locked up. So QAnon predicted, he not only said that there was this pedophile ring, but then he predicted the storm, which all of them were going to get locked up. Of course, the storm didn't happen, but QAnon was like, don't worry about that, don't worry about it. We'll put a pin in that one. All right, meanwhile, what y'all need to be thinking about is how JFK Jr. faked his death, and he's going to return and run with Trump, yada, yada. And so there was actually people that believed this dumb shit. All right, JFK Jr. faked his death, and he's going to come back and join the Republican Party. All right, oh shoot, what did I do? So that didn't happen. And there were people camping out in Dallas for days, waiting for the appearance of JFK Jr. So then, and these people, like, I don't understand, like these people here, like that you see picture, they're just always like, Q, tell us what to do. We haven't seen, because any of his posts are called Q drops. And I'm telling you, it's gotta be somebody just being funny. To me, it's just somebody being funny, like, all right, watch this, y'all. I'm gonna get these Americans started up on this dumb shit. Watch this. Look at that. There they go. Reposting this dumb shit. So actually though, man, my thing is, oh shoot, I lost it that fast. My thing with Q is, I need him to stop talking politics. I want this guy to start talking sports betting because all of his predictions that have yet to happen or won't happen. Oh, March 5th. He predicted March 5th that Trump was going to be reinstated, or last March. Trump was going to be reinstated because yada, yada, yada. And that didn't happen. So again, Q was like, put a pin in that one. What y'all need to be thinking about right now is, I need this guy to start talking sports. Specifically sports betting. Because I'm going to fade all his picks. I ain't even going to watch sports no more. I just be like, what is Q talking about? The Rams are going to get crushed by the Bengals in the Super Bowl because of Joe Barry. Hello, Harris? Yes, I want 2 fistfuls of cash. Give me everything within reach of me on the Rams. I'm fading all this dude's picks when he starts talking. I wish he'd start talking sports. I don't know about.
I mean, that's not.
Go ahead.
When Barack Obama got elected.
Oh boy.
Like that.
Dun dun dun.
That sent shockwaves throughout the United States.
A slave president?
What we saw was an opportunity to grow, to continue it's fair for us. They started killing us at a rapid pace.
How about that?
Like literally, like no one was really paying attention, you know, and it really came to a head when the young man George Floyd when that happened.
Yeah.
But 2 things were happening at the same time. One, we were under a pandemic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and everybody was in the house, and everybody, white, black, brown, Puerto Rican, Asian, whatever, it was paused, and that's all you could watch. And you sat there and you watched that for 8 minutes, and you said to yourself, man, that has either never happened to me, man, that has happened to me countless times, man, that's happened to my family. And if you were a person that was out there saying, I've never seen that before, you like, oh, shit.
Whoa, they be doing that?
This is what they be talking about. Oh, no, we got to help. You feel me? So that's why everybody came out with the defund the police and all this other situation. Like, if you have militarized police in your area, that's not good. You feel me? If they could pull out a big-ass truck and come down the street with a tank, and like that's not good.
Right.
You feel me? Because police are here to protect and serve.
You mean persecute and subjugate?
Right.
I'm sorry.
But you can't have peace if you're not being operated and dealt with in a peaceful manner. They come into our community, they rattle our cages, they shake our cages, they get us mad. When you go to anywhere, anybody that has dogs, and you go out and you rattle all the cages and you fucking with the cages, you kicking the cages, you're getting the dogs hyper.
Riled up.
Then you let them out. Guess who the dogs are going to fight on? They're going to fight on each other.
Right.
Because they can't fight on nobody else, right? But
Nearest,
open that gate and you stand there after you get that shit and see what those dogs do. They're going to attack you. So it's like, you know, we as black people, we have to want more than what we have. We have to impress opportunities on our children. We have to dream. We have to be purposeful in everything that we're doing. And this is how we'll change. But until we do that, man, they gonna keep on playing. They playing games with they people that's following them.
Oh yeah,
they playing games with them.
And
like,
they don't see. I don't like. How do you not?
They don't see it because they don't. The last thing they want is another black president. So they're gearing up, bro. They're gearing up. Say, no, we're not going for that shit no more.
You know the sun still rose the next day, right? Like y'all act like it's the end of the world.
It rose on a whole nother different platform, bro. It rose for us because we saw opportunity. We saw purposeful living.
Right.
You feel me? Now we can say Barack Obama did nothing for us. He did a lot for us. He got us thinking that we could be there. Right. Now for the next black person to step up and be in a position to lead and do shit for us. You feel me? Like that was the first one. That's not for that. That was just to let you know that it can happen. The second one is for that. The second one is the person that's gonna go in there and say, all right, repercussions for everybody, reparations for everybody. We giving money to all the black people. yeah, because we just gave out like trillions of dollars for people that were sitting at home and didn't work because you could catch a cold. Sorry, like. No, we're not doing that. So it's out there. It's possible. We just have to care.
So we're gonna skip right into our third block. All right, P, you eat oysters? I love me some oysters. I love oysters. Well, actually, you know what? We should go get some oysters one day because the Philadelphia Water Department wants you to eat more oysters, folks, and save the shells. The shells are going to be used to clean waterways as well as to pave driveways, etc. So we need to go get a 30-pack, P. Do our part. No?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'm good with that. I went to a restaurant last Saturday and ate some oysters. It's been a minute, man.
Right. Oh, I started eating them things when I was living in Georgia for a few months, and yeah. Then
I ain't cracking it open and bring it to me already.
Right. Yeah. I ain't doing all that shucking and what.
Shit, you feel me? But you know, bring me my toppings. You feel me? my lemon,
my hot sauce, my Tabasco.
I could do about 20. I could sit there and eat 20 of them. Oh. And everybody like, oh, but you don't like crabs. I'm not doing all that work.
That's a lot of and you can get cut.
I'm not doing that. Everybody I know that eat crabs, they always got cuts on the side.
Right, tears your fingertips up eating them things.
I'm not doing that, bro.
You're spitting out the shells, bits of that. Oh man, we've talked before, P, about how kids are getting like job training opportunities now with as far as trucking. Right. Like we did that one story on the female 16-year-old girl knows how to drive a big rig and whatnot. Nowadays, you know, I didn't even know about this. There's a construction summer camp for females.
Construction summer camp for females.
Yeah. It's 7th through 12th grade age females, and it's free 6-week summer camp for them to get hands-on experience in construction, job site safety, and practicing skills. And the mentoring in young women in construction camp is in its 13th year. I didn't even know about that. Females make up just 10% of the construction workforce, which is funny because anytime I see a female construction worker, especially a tall one, I'm like, hey, girl, yeah.
Huh?
Mix that concrete. Yeah. Set that foundation. Yeah, girl. No?
What?
You know? See, you're no feminist.
I'm definitely not a feminist. If she pretty.
Right. You don't want to see no husky Joe.
Nah, she ain't for me. I'm not even gonna waste the time, bro. She, she look like Jada Kiss and Manny Fresh. sitting there, you feel me, laying the foundation. I'm gonna say, yo, bro. You feel me? I'm gonna give her the respect. You feel me? But you know, if she got a nice smile, like this young lady on this drink, she got a nice smile.
That's what. What's up?
Yeah, shit. Let me help you.
Let me set that concrete.
Nah, I'm not gonna set it. She know how to set it. I'm gonna help her though. I'm gonna pour it up in there. Put this concrete up in there. Yeah, fill this joint.
Oh my goodness. You know, there's a aggressive. We mentioned it before, but it's definitely been announced. There's a Tuesday. The Department of Transportation announced that there's a crackdown on aggressive driving. 80 police departments in southeastern Pennsylvania, all throughout Montgomery, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Philly counties. They're going to be cranking up enforcement of aggressive driving. That would have helped keep with that story we did in our first block with Sadiq and his mother. It's a coordinated aggressive driving enforcement. It's to help reduce crashes, injuries, and fatalities, and hopefully road rage. The wave of enforcement is going to focus on heavy truck violations, pedestrian safety, red light running, and tailgating. Law enforcement will use traffic enforcement zones, saturation patrols, more officers, and speed enforcement details, corridor enforcement, and work zone enforcement. And I said there were over 1,500 aggressive driving crashes last year that resulted in 27 fatalities in the aforementioned counties. So hopefully that'll, man, these folks out here nowadays, they seen too many damn action movies. Pete, you're not a hiker, right?
A hiker?
Yeah. Would you go for a hike on occasion?
It depends on what's at the end of the hike.
We're not gonna hike 6 miles out and 6 miles back. No.
I literally was. So when I was in Chicago, I walked to the United Center from downtown.
Okay.
And I went to go see my doctor. What was that? Thursday. I seen him. He was like, "Man, you know that was a long walk." I was like, "How many miles?" I said, "About four up, 4 back. Like 8 miles."
Nice.
He was like, "Man, yeah, okay." He was like, "That's still you had to walk through the hood to get there." I was like, "Yeah, it was a nice walk, man."
So, question for you: while you were in Chicago, did you get the step down?
Stepping? No, I ain't get to go out and do no stepping. I ain't had no car, and I was walking every day. Man, my feet was hurting. And when I got back here, I didn't know how tired I was, and then I got a cold. You feel me? And then I was like, fuck, bro, this joint is kicking my ass. I had to lay that fuck down the last 2 days.
Isn't it funny how you do so much walking when you're on vacation?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yeah.
Like, damn, man, that was long as shit.
Right.
And then the next day I walked to Soldier Field. You feel me?
Okay.
That was a great situation. I walked through the museum, the Field Museum. Right?
Cool.
I was on Lake Michigan. Wanting to jump in.
Oh, that looks like a small ocean to me.
It does.
Yeah, that
thing's
huge.
What
kind of lake you can't see the other side? That ain't no lake.
This ain't no lake. This ain't fair. But when we were flying in, it looked like a beach at the bottom. I'm like, it's a beach? Ain't no beach in Chicago.
Yeah, that right.
I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, where we at? Did I get on the wrong plane? But it was a nice trip, man. It was a lot of knowledge. A lot of helpful people.
That's what's up.
I just, I'm just thinking about what the future for the radio station, right? All access, what an all access station can look like. You feel me?
Oh yeah, my man's inspired. Yes.
And I had to sit back on a couple of things. What am I doing personally?
Mm-hmm.
You feel me, to help this continue to grow, and where do I see it going? And, everybody's not going to agree. You feel me? And I get that, man. Everybody's not going to want to be a part of your dream.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like how big or how small those parts are. But it's like, it's hard to do this by myself. You know what I mean? So when I was out there, I was talking to him about, and the one guy was like, listen, I started my stuff 25 years ago. Shit, I ain't got 25. Bullshit. You feel me? Like, but he was like, and honestly, you know, he said year 10 is when everything started to click.
Okay.
People started to come in and wanting to help. So, you know, he's like, if you stick around for 10 years, bro, you know, it'll open up for you. You know, and I was
There
like,
we
all right,
go.
cool. I mean, I just got 5 more years.
We getting there, baby.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, well, I brought up hiking because in Italy, man, a glacier broke off. 17 people remain unaccounted for after a large chunk of the Alpine Glacier. It broke off, and it sent ice, rock, and snow onto a popular trail where people come and go. And this happened last Sunday. There's 6 confirmed deaths, and there's still 17 people missing. Apparently, you know, when they were hiking, you know, if you're hiking up this mountain trail, they were roped together, which probably served to be there. You know, you rope together for safety in case one person falls. You know, the others can pull them up. But they're still trying to identify the missing people by the license plates on unclaimed cars in the parking lot, and they've used drones for overhead search. And they've called off the search because now it's no longer, obviously it's a recovery mission now. This happened in the injured people that they did recover. Those were flown to the town of Canazei in the Dolomite mountain range. I said, oh, well, damn. Rudy Ray Moore got that name, Dolomite, from a mountain range. But Dolomite is also a chemical, or no, it's a mineral. It's a mineral as well. So I didn't know that until I started to. That picture that we got up is of a floating restaurant in Hong Kong. So you get in the boat, and the boat takes you out to the restaurant. So we got the Mooshaloo here in Philly. You know, it's a floating restaurant. This joint is literally out more into the water. Oh, I'm sorry, was out on the water because that joint capsized last week and sunk. Oh, they had to tow it out of there. This is in Hong Kong. It was an iconic restaurant. I was towed out last Saturday, and it was passing the Xisha Islands, also known as the Paracel Islands in the South China Sea. Water entered the vessel and it started to tip over. The company said no one was injured, but the efforts to save the vessel failed and it capsized Sunday before last. This thing's huge. The jumbo floating restaurant, almost 260 feet in length, had been a landmark in Hong Kong for over 4 decades. I bet there's was some good grub on that thing. It closed in 2020 due to the pandemic and laid off all its staff. And then the restaurant became a financial burden to its shareholders with millions of Hong Kong dollars spent on inspection and maintenance. So I wouldn't be surprised if that little sinking was a little bit with the Jews I know called Jewish lightning. Time to get this insurance money. Write this loss off. Said prior to its departure, they said that the vessel had been thoroughly inspected before it sunk, but yeah, whatever. So actually, we talked about, just a moment ago, we talked about how this restaurant laid off all its staff. Let's talk about historically black university, and this is, former Grambling State University volleyball coach Chelsea Lucas, and she got fired last Tuesday in an announcement by the Grambling State University president and vice president for intercollegiate athletics. They had conducted an investigation and found that so apparently what Miss Lucas did was, I don't know what led to her decision, but she was heated. She's the coach of the volleyball team, right? She cut all the players. She cut all the players from the team and revoked all the staff or revoked all the scholarships. She had the job since February 14th. So I guess the administrator's like, ain't no damn team, ain't no need for you then. But what they announced was that all the scholarships are going to be reinstated and the walk-on spots are going to be held as well. Lucas was actually Grambling. She's GSU alumni. She was the 2006 Defensive Player of the Year for the SWAC conference for Grambling. Ain't that something? That's why I say, man, the best coaches don't always make the best players.
Obviously, she did it for a reason. Obviously, the team wasn't performing the way she had hoped it would.
And that's why I said, well, you pick one and then make an example of them in front of.
You picked the whole damn
team.
She
was comprehensive with it.
I mean, she wants to win. And that's the only thing about hiring former players. You feel me? To be head coaches, is they want to win. Winning is all that matters. So she like, fuck it. If y'all niggas don't want to play, then we ain't gonna have no season. Then ain't nobody gonna have no. Y'all got a scholarship. Y'all sit here bullshit. I need y'all to work. Y'all don't want to work. I'll find more people. Graham was supposed to have a little bit more faith in her to understand that she could still bring those people back.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And not fire her that way. You feel me?
Right,
you know.
right. But they, at the same time, man, PR right now, public relations is so big. Oh, my goodness. And the fact that a coach basically that's what it's coming to, because it's about doing collegiate athletics is a job, dude. You put in more time. You put in just as much, if not more time, as you do at a full-time job. So, well, here's a nice little story about a black person in a leadership position, P. Did you hear about the San Jose Sharks of the National Hockey League? They have hired Mike Greer as their GM. He's the first general manager in National Hockey League history.
And who's suing the National Hockey League? Nobody. Nobody.
He was earlier this year. He was serving as hockey operations advisor for the New York Rangers. The Sharks. It's like a homecoming of sorts, because the Sharks are one of the 4 teams that Greer played for during his 14 NHL season.
Right, we'll bring him back.
Which is funny because as soon as I saw him the one day on the ice, I was like, "Look at,
is that a brother?
Will you?
You got on black makeup?
Look at that there, huh?" Ooh, white folks is doing blackface on the damn. Oh no, that's a black guy. Okay, all right, my bad. The Sharks are in a 3-year playoff drought, right? Now, I'm saying good luck, Mr. Greer, because you're going to be the first black GM hired, which means it ain't going to be long till you're the first black GM fired. You know how they do. You better not have one mis-signing. It's shit. Even if a player you hired or signed and he gets hurt, that's going to be on you still, even though you got nothing to do with it. You know the clock's ticking. So it's like being the coach for a LeBron James team. Because, on LeBron James' team, when the going gets tough, the coach gets going. Pete, I love my wrestling. I love my wrestling, right? Great theater and whatnot. And we've talked about AirPods, right? How AirPods can be scary, used for tracking and whatnot. Well, here's a good story about how AirPods were used for tracking, and it's combined with wrestling.
You got a dead lion up here, bro.
Oh, that's the dead lion first? Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I thought I had him switched around. Okay, the dead lion. This guy, right? This was a big, I can't stand these guys that go around hunting endangered animals, especially when, if you're taking a rifle and you're going to hunt an animal, right? That's nothing. There's no accomplishment in that killing. Now, what would be an accomplishment is if that man was pictured with that dead lion and he had a bloody knife on him and some claw marks on him from the lion. He went up and got in the mix with the lion. Well, this is a gentleman. This took place in South Africa. Trophy. There. Wait. Sugar honey. Wait. Trophy hunter. I'm trying to search my notes. Trophy hunter kill. That, I forget his name. He is, there we are. That was 55-year-old Rian Nude, and he was an avid hunter of endangered animals. He owned a company that billed itself as a hunting and eco safari outfit. These people would charge $350 per day. People pay $350 a day to go hunt alligators, giraffes. So you'd pay $2,500 for an alligator, $1,500 for a giraffe. What is the point in hunting a giraffe? There's no way you're tracking that. You can see it from a mile away. It's a skyscraper with 4 legs. Well, listen, Nord's truck broke down or became overheated in Limpopo, South Africa. And according to the nonprofit Heritage Protection Group, a white Nissan pulled up alongside him and shot him dead. And then shot him twice in the chest. Then a pair of gentlemen, they didn't say, two gentlemen got out and snatched one of his guns out of the car. They left 2 other guns in the car, and then they fled. I'm sorry, but I mean, I know he's gone and whatnot, but listen, you ever see this story about the OJ trial? And it was on ESPN. They did this like this 6-part. It was very well done. ESPN does some great documentaries. But how they ended this 6-part documentary on OJ, on the OJ trial. And they did the whole thing from the rooter to the tutor. And they brought you from the Great Migration. They started the story. So you got to see all the racial tension that went into LA as well. So there was a whole lot of racial tension long before OJ stabbed that white woman, or allegedly stabbed, or anyway. So at the end of the documentary, there was this juror, this one female juror, and they asked her like if she felt like, because she pretty much admitted that she kind of felt like he did it. And so they were like, did you think that was wrong, giving him a not guilty verdict? But again, she's an older black woman, so who knows what she's been through in LA. And she just gave this kind of shrug like, well. That's how I feel about Nord's death. Like, huh? Well, yeah. Anyway. So, Pete. So, do you see the picture in Walmart?
No, I see.
Okay. No? There was a wrestler, Natalia Markova. So we were talking about AirPods, right? AirPods are used to track people or track things sometimes. Markova, Natalia, as you might know her, she was landed in Tampa after a run of NWA tapings. That's when she discovered her purse was missing. Her fellow wrestler, Brian Mercurio Idol, asked her, listen, you got something in your purse that can help it be tracked? And then that's when she was like, wait, I do. So then she used her Find My app on her iPhone and found that her purse was on its way to Pinellas Park, Florida, like 40 miles away from where they were. So Idol and Markova jump in the car. They drive out to Pinellas Park. And just as they're pulling into a Walmart, which is where the Find Me app is telling her purse is, or her AirPods were, she gets an alert on her phone saying, yo, somebody just tried to purchase a $700 TV on your credit card. They go inside and see my man, and you can see, well, I don't have the full shot, but right to and behind the guy with the white beater on, behind him, there's a TV sitting on a cart. They caught my man at the checkout aisle. And that's where my man pushed him up against the collar. Come to find out, my man turned in her purse to the airline staff. However, he took the AirPods, $600 in cash, and her credit cards out of the purse before he gave it over. So I guess you could call him a knockoff Good Samaritan, huh? So they confronted the man. Idol chased him, tackled him. Police responded to the calls of fights at a Walmart, and that's when my man admitted that what he did and how he gave the purse back to American Airlines. Markova declined to press charges if all of her stuff was returned to her, which the thief did, and he was released. We talked about it before. You like cats?
No, I don't.
No? I remember you saying you told a funny story. You told a funny story about this one cat that you had.
Oh yeah, my mom's Siamese cat.
Okay, you said that he was a killer.
Yeah, he was a murderer. Like literally, I trained him from the time I got him as a kitten. We were assassinating everything. Squirrels, birds, mice, You know what I mean? Everything.
Oh, well, there was a woman who had, now these are, for lack of, that's what these are what they're called coon cats. She had 20 of them. And this is in Russia, in the city of Bataysk. Anyway, she collapsed, right? And her employer didn't hear from her for a minute, so he made a call. Eventually, they went into her home. She hadn't showed up for work in like 2 weeks. And when they went into her house, they found that she was laying there dead. She must have collapsed somehow. They also found her partially eaten. The cats were like, what else are you gonna eat? She was partially eaten by the cats. I mean, you can look at it too. I thought cats were more independent than that. I thought they would go out and find their own thing. Like you said.
Right here. We ain't got to go search long.
She would have wanted it this way.
It was probably a couple days for the cats was like, look.
They held a meeting.
Everybody hungry?
Right.
You know, she's right here. We can eat on her, or we could try to go out into the world and find food. But it's cold out there.
Right.
It's warm in here. We can eat her. You feel me? It might last us about 2-3 weeks. You feel me? Like, what's up? What we doing?
And they're known, these particular breed, they're known for being muscular and built. So they also probably had the strength to just flip over.
There's 20 fucking cats.
Oh my goodness, right?
I'm good. I don't want no coon cat.
Where is your intro? Where's your intro, P? Oh, wait, we did that. All right, where's your intro, P? Because all right, it's about that time. It's about that time. If I lost the intro, it should have been right here, but it's not. All right, but I got it. Don't you worry about a thing. All right, here we go. There we go. So, P, we got a stacked field for you today. There's going to be some difficult decisions for you here. It's going to be some difficult position.
Once a week, a person steps forward to be more than a person, to be an example, a beacon, a hero.
The Stillwater, Oklahoma police said an officer was on routine patrol at 9:38 p.m. when he saw a tan Chrysler minivan. The officer turned to drive past the van after seeing it stop in the middle of the street and saw a 10-year-old boy sitting in the driver's seat. Eventually, the van went through an intersection in reverse and went up an embankment into the front yard of a residence. The officer then pulled his car in front of the van and blocked it. The officer then placed the 10-year-old in the back seat of the car. That's when the 10-year-old boy told the officer his dad wanted him to have cereal before going to school in the morning, so his dad sent the boy to buy Cheerios at the store. He did. However, the officer took the boy home. The officer found the boy's parents had been asleep. The boy then admitted he had just left home without his parents' knowledge to go to the store.
10 years old.
10 years old.
By himself.
By himself at 8:30.
Driving. That's my hero. And he didn't crash.
It's time to find out who gets their cape and shades and takes to the sky as Who's Weekly Hero?
All right, P. So this, like I said, this is gonna be a tough call for you today. So I got for you, for your consideration, P, I have my first submission is this gentleman. His name is David Luis Gonzalez. He is an artist and a TEDx speaker and a podcast host. David was a juvenile when he was sentenced for murder. And so he said he now runs, but now on his release, he did his time, and he runs a program as a support coach. The program is called I Am More, and he runs the program at CCP, or Community College of Philadelphia. His goal in life is to change the narrative of what people coming from prison look like. So this is a strong, I said, when I saw this guy, I said, oh, this is definitely a strong front runner here. So Gonzalez was a juvenile lifer. He spent 31 years of a mandatory life sentence without parole following a conviction for first-degree murder. He described himself as a confused, angry, and illiterate kid when he went to prison at 17. He moved to Philly as a teenager or as a kid. His family was born in the Bronx. When he was now the reason his family moved from the Bronx to Philly was because he witnessed the murder of his grandfather. But then he soon got caught up in the streets here, and that was that. While he was in jail, he got his GED, he got an associate's degree, and eventually earned his Bachelor of Arts through a program at Villanova. Then he also met, while he was behind bars, he met journalist Maria Hinosa. And she has a program, Latino USA, and it's on WHYY Sundays at 6. And then Gonzalez and Hinosa began writing letters to one another. She became his mentor, and they eventually became friends. And then they exchanged phone calls over the years. And then it was turned into a podcast series and called Suave. They're Hispanic. Suave. There we go. So Suave has recently won a Pulitzer Prize for audio reporting. And here, P, wait, do I have a quick clip of it? Here, so listen to this, P. This is him. This is
What's going on? Just talk to me. Suave, I'm talking to you. What is going on?
I'm cool.
Suave, forget that Maggie's in the room. Forget that Maggie's...
I'm cool. I'm serious. I'm cool. I'm just...
Yeah, but just tell me what just happened.
I never thought I'd be locked up in a room like this again. I'm cool.
I know you're cool, sweetie. You're out of prison.
I just had a little flashback.
Okay.
It's just like, it's too real. It's too real. It's like, damn. The reality is, I had a life sentence. There's no parole in the state of Pennsylvania for lifers. When you're a lifer, then they tell you where do you want your body sent to when you die. Damn, so you got to mentally be prepared for the worst. But I made it. I made it out, so I'm good.
Gonzalez said they said he had an IQ of 56 when he went into prison. Sometimes them IQ they say those IQ tests ain't worth a damn. Now he's a trained journalist and a Pulitzer Prize winner, P. So there is your first submission.
You're making me cry, actually.
Oh, shoot.
The fact that you're having this reaction to this room,
shoot.
I mean...
Yeah, I'm sorry. But that was, that was kind of moving stuff. I don't know about you. It moved me. All right, P. So your next submission here is the Niles Swim Club. The Niles Swim Club, I didn't know about them until recently, doing stuff for this week's show. But the Niles Swim Club, oh, son of a bitch.
You're the worst.
I am. What? Oh, there's a Niles Swim Club, and it's run in Philadelphia. And they are they're teaching, and you know what, though? I did notice from the get-go, when I first started working in school, right? And then during the summer, we'd have, in my classroom, I had like 7 students. 2 of them were black, right? And when I would watch, one was black and Hispanic. But man, when I would watch those 2 fellas in the water, I'd be like, what is going, black folks usually don't swim. But these 2, the Niles Swim Club is running in Philadelphia to help, teach black folks how to swim, prevent drownings and whatnot. No more drownings in their city is their motto. So the Niles Swim Club is your second submission. All right. Next up, what we got here, P, is this guy. What we got here, P, this young fella, this is Corian Evans. Now, Corian, 16-year-old in Mississippi, right? 16-year-old Corian Evans, he's in Mississippi, and week before last, he's with his friend, and they're walking along near the Pascagoula River in Mississippi.
Yeah, Pascagoula, man. I was out there working on that oil spill. Yeah.
So Corian and his boy, they see this car go off a boat launch and into the river. The boat had 3 teenage girls in it, right? And so the boat had 3 teenage girls in it. They turn around. Corey sees them go into the water. He makes a business decision, goes right in after them. He jumped in. He said, Corian said that there was only a little bit of car sticking out. So he said, I don't want these folks to die in front of me. So he and his friend, they went in after the girls. They helped them get onto the roof of the car. And that's when a officer, where's his name? Officer Gary Mercer, he arrived and he swam out, but Gary Mercer wound up getting in trouble himself in the water. He's yelling for help and swimming, and he's starting to drown. Corian's to-do list of rescues grew by one more person, and then Corian, sure enough, he took the officer, he started swimming with him, and then Corian says, I went out, I grabbed the police officer, and I started swimming back until I could walk. So local police chief Brandon Ashley said, the police department and I commend Mr. Evans' bravery and selflessness he displayed by risking his own safety to help people in danger. If Mr. Evans had not assisted, it could have possibly turned out tragically instead of all occupants rescued safely. He went on to add that, so with that said, we look forward to hunting him one day once he's carrying a license and a busted taillight. No, he didn't say. He didn't add that part.
I was about to say, Corian.
But you know how they
gotta say fuck him.
Corian, I would hope that they literally gave him a get out of jail free card.
Like, officer, you can't swim? You can't swim? Let's just wait here and see what happens, yo. You can't swim?
So Corian is your next submission, P. And then finally, this is the dark horse. This is the dark horse, right, P? So where was this at? South America, Chile. Chile. Oh, you're right. Chile. An unnamed employee for a frozen food company giant in Chile. The company is called Cial. And he was inadvertently paid 330 times at the end of May. He told his manager what happened, and his manager told him to go to the bank, return it face to face. And he said, okay, but he never showed up. When his supervisors finally got in contact with him at 11 a.m. the next day, he said, oh, my bad, I overslept. He texted supervisor, listen, I'm running an errand and I'll handle that later. I got you. That was the last time they heard from him until they received his resignation letter from a lawyer, through his lawyer. The company's now suing him for misappropriation since the money he received is not corroborated with the services that he has performed. But I guess my man made the decision. He was like, what? Look like y'all done fucked up. I'm out. So that is the dark horse pick, P. So to review, we got Gonzalez, from prison to Pulitzer. We got the Nile Swim Club. We got Corian Evans, the rescuer, the literal hero, and this unnamed gentleman in Chile who was paid 330 times and said, that's a blessing. He said,
I'm out.
Right.
Man. Well, for me, it's always the story of redemption, man.
I knew, all right.
The story of having an opportunity. But I'm going to give our third place finish goes to the young man that got paid 330 times and quit his job, man. Like, if you want to go out, you go out with a bang. You're still young. You feel me? I got my money and see ya.
Peace out.
I don't want to diminish the importance of teaching young African American children how to swim. Right.
Right.
The benefits of that. It's another sport. Like if we teach our children more than football, basketball, and baseball. We talking about lacrosse. We teach them about soccer. We teach them about swimming. You know, they can possibly, achieve more. Everybody's not a great basketball player. Everybody's not a great football player. Some people
play some water polo or something like that.
Right. Whatever happens, but we have to open the door.
And that's the thing, man. You know what, though? That was one of the other things that they touched on, because so many pools, once you had to, oh, my God, touch the same water as a Negro? No. So many pools got closed once they had to integrate them. People just started getting their own pools in their backyard and whatnot. So I think that has a lot to do with why you have so many
Philly has had a ton of recreational pools.
Right.
You know what I mean? In areas. You feel me? But it's because we shut the doors on the opportunities for our children, the possibilities of finding a purpose or dreaming. We give negativity a place to grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, we have to learn how to, open those doors again for our kids. I get it. A lot of them are lost. A lot of them are out here in the street, and they feel like the only way that anybody can hear them is to bust a gun.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And we don't really hear you because we're not listening to the guns. You feel me? We're listening to the voices. And I'm in the charter school. You remember that first day we were there, and all the children,
God,
right, was sitting there talking about the violence. How they wish they could stop it, how they want to stop it, right? And it's like, I then have to give you an opportunity so that we can stop this. You feel me? We have to talk about it. We have to understand where is this coming from? Where is this energy coming from? But major shout out to the Nile for everything that they're doing with the youth. Secondly, I want to give a huge shout out to the young man that jumped in, that risked his life to save others.
Mucho grandes huevos. Yeah.
Like that's major. He was selfless in that moment. He jumped in, and then he had to go in more to save the cops. So
and didn't think, didn't blink.
He couldn't. At that point, you really can't think. You really can't blink. And most people would say he can't swim, but shit, he jumped in there and he tried to save him anyway. And then P's Weekly Hero goes to an awesome story about redemption, like resetting, right? Your life. This man was on death row, basically. He was doing life. He was locked up for the rest of his life. There is no parole, and he's out, right? And obviously he has done some things that make sense for the people around him that are standing around him. So, major shout out to him, man. Let's try to get his information, see if we can.
There we go.
And let's talk, man. Communication is key, right? You want to know how things work, you ask questions, you get the answers, you apply those answers in that way of life to yours, and hopefully it can take you somewhere where you never thought you ever could be, right? So, it's definitely exciting.
If we ever get him on, though, I'll have to be somewhere else, because I'll be listening to the interview the whole time between the two of y'all. I'll be like, sound like a whole bitch.
You bitching right now.
Oh, but loving how we ending on a high note, as always. Thanks for joining us for this week's Running the D Train with Darren DeVoue on CMPRadio.net. Don't forget to hit up P, cash up P for $1, cash at P $1, and if you're not going to do that, what you need to do is buy one of these Voice of Chester t-shirts. I got mine. Where's yours at? You got them in white on gray, got white on black on white on black, pink on white, and even some. But there's some. I gotta get me one of the don't forget, if you miss any of CMPRadio.net's content, you go to the Facebook or YouTube page, right? Oh, speaking of which, P, I forgot to shout out. Did you know that I saw some YouTube comments on a YouTube comment on the show a couple of weeks ago? Apparently, I didn't realize, because I used it when I try and get the intro set. I was like, oh snap, look at that. Somebody named 291 Computer Tech was checking out the show. Hey, 291 Computer Tech. Thank you for listening. But what would Josh do? One of our shows here at cmpradio.net, along with Respect for Life with Mr. Muhammad, Kicking It with C's, and of course this show. So you can check all that content out on the cmpradio.net Facebook and YouTube page. Thanks for joining us as always. Gerald, have a great week. Mom, thanks for you. Jabri, I ain't see you this week. You all right? We're going to send a wellness check to that brother's house. But in the meantime, folks, thank you for joining us and have a peaceful, productive, and positive week. We'll see you next week on the D Train.
We're talking about the heroic work of two men.
We're going after your train.
The train keeps going all night long. The train